Hi, this is Anudeep. I'm on Cheers Chatty.
Hi Anudeep, good morning.
Good morning.
Hey Babus, this is Chatty from Cheers Chatty, and this is a very special day with a very special guest. Firstly, I would like to wish Anudeep and all our listeners a happy International Beer Day. One more thing which is very good about today is yesterday was IPA day, and Anudeep is nothing but an IPA fan. Okay, so in his profile also says, if you want to be friends with him, just hand up IPA to him. And that's how we have him here today.
Hi, Chatty. How you doing?
I'm doing very well, and it's a great morning. We started early before the workers around your society come over to break it.
That's me. Trying to get through it.
So actually we were supposed to have this call early in the morning or late night, but I said it's a very good day, so let's just do it first thing. Because the day anyway we'll go and drinking a lot of beers today.
So do it when your mind is fresh.
Yeah, exactly. Uske baad, one doesn't know what one is going to be saying also.
Right. So this is a great day to do it as well. I mean, we share our love and passion for beers, and it's everything falling under the same week of the month. So you have IPA day, you have International Beer Day. Really good.
And it is for Cheers Chatty also a very special day because we just reached our first 500 followers on Instagram. So we're very happy for that. And
congratulations.
Thank you so much, Emily. So let's get straight into the questions. And what I noticed about you is that you are a mechanical engineer by qualification. I think even by profession for some time you did pursue that. But nothing has been mechanical about your life. So where did all the beer start from?
So that's a great question. So there's a saying, right? We think, we need to go through a phase where we need to figure out what we don't want to get to what we want.
Very true.
So I was like, there's no hate with mechanical engineering. I still love it. It all started as a passion even when I was an engineer doing my undergrad. So we had a pretty cool team. We worked on different projects. So everything was fun because it was like a product that we are building on our own. Like there was no boss. We're not working for anyone. It's like a college. We're trying to figure out our own thing. So it was all good, and I felt, probably this is what I can do. And then when I chose my career as a mechanical engineer, so I thought of going abroad and probably do my masters can really help me, secure a good job. So I felt, I'll take it up, and I did my masters in Ohio. So for a couple of years I graduated as a mechanical engineer, and I got an opportunity to work as an engineer, so as a design engineer. So obviously at the beginning I was very excited to really step into that corporate world and really to get that experience. So I was working, and that excitement didn't last long. So the reason for that was, when you work for someone and a project which is huge, like there are 3,000 members working on a project, and your contribution is like 0.001. So it's like, I felt probably I can contribute much more on my own doing something that I love.
Okay.
So working for someone, I didn't feel like that my passion is satisfied. So there was a gap. And also the work environment was like, we always had to deal with tighter deadlines, and schedule was like very tight, putting in 70, 80-hour work weeks. It felt like I was like a zombie sitting in front of a computer for a long time.
Yeah, you're just staring at the screen and nothing else.
No, literally, I was like in a vicious cycle, like doing the same thing over and over again, like doing the same task, like do it every day, show up. So I was waiting for the weekend so that I could relax. So I felt I had to make a choice because I can't do it for the rest of my life. If I look at the person 20 years older, senior than me in the company, I felt, do I really want to be that person after 20 years? The first answer was no. So I felt like I was wasting time. So let me figure out something that I want to do for the rest of my life. So then I started mapping out things. What do I like? The first thing came up was obviously alcohol.
Yeah.
So I felt
the easiest and the best solution.
So, but yeah, fortunately I had a chance to, do a little bit of that part-time that really helped me fund for my masters in the US. So I was also working for, my cousin's friend who owned a state liquor store in Ohio. So I got an exposure of this retail business.
So you used to work at the store, is it?
Yeah. I used to work at the store. I started off like stacking the shelves and like all the way eventually got to a manager position.
Oh,
This was like, when I was doing my masters, like I used to go there and switch back and forth. I used to attend my classes and come back and work. So, and that was the only option I had back then. So I had to do this. So, but that fortunately has given me an environment where I got an exposure to a lot of people, to understand the customer behavior and what they like, what they don't like. So in that small retail world, I also spent a lot of time with the distributors, and fortunately we had craft beer over there, and I was interacting with all the distributors. They were like, hey, try this beer, try that beer. And I was like, okay, yeah, bring it in. So we were the only place in that town called Virginia that we were selling a lot of craft beer. Even the owner was like very supportive and encouraging. He's like, order whatever craft beer you want to order because we want this place to look like a decent craft beer place. That's where it started. So I felt, I started trying different craft beers. For me, when I went to US in 2013, all I knew was, Kingfisher and Tuborg and...
Yeah, that's all we grew up on actually.
Right, so going there and looking at the different varieties of beer, it felt like a beer library. It's like, what are these beers? I never heard of these IPAs and all these, and I was trying different beers.
First of all, to see different brands of beer and then the styles within that. That itself is so overwhelming.
Yeah, definitely. It's just like completely overwhelming, and the more time I spent there, eventually that spiked the interest. And coming to my job, my day job as an engineer, so I felt probably I can get into beer. And then one day I just randomly Googled like how to brew a beer, and I realized that there were a lot of brewing clubs around in Columbus, Ohio, who were really supportive, and they hooked me up with all the equipment, ingredients where I can brew some small scale 20-liter batches. It all started there, and we had a club meeting once in every month where they do a competition, and
you bring in your brews and stuff.
We all judge each other's beers. There's a panel sitting around, and it's gonna be like very constructive. It's not like a critical. They're not gonna like criticize you. It's gonna be like in a positive way where you can improve your beer for the next batch. So that gave me a lot of learning, a lot of insights on understanding beers in a deeper level, like different styles of beers and what goes into it and what can I tweak to change, make the beer better. So all these were like really helpful, and that's when they asked me like, why not just judge competitions, like you get to have a more exposure on this beer. And I was like, yeah, I'll do it.
Oh, they actually asked you to judge, is it?
Yeah,
that's damn cool, yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of people over there were like already they were beer judges, like BJCP certified judges, and they were doing the competitions. So they have competitions, like a lot of competitions over there. So I started off judging there, and I really liked it. Learned a lot of things that how to judge. It's not about bashing someone for making a bad beer. It's about like helping them with what you actually think of that beer, and not having any personal biases regarding a particular beer style.
Whose beer is better than the other type?
Yeah. Also, if you don't like an IPA, and if you're judging a really good IPA, so you shouldn't keep that personal bias regarding that style when you're judging it.
Yeah.
That was a very important point that I had. And it's like, I learned a lot of stuff, and I was like, I'm really grateful for all that experience. And I think that passion eventually grew since I was putting in work every day and trying to, go to different breweries, voluntarily work for them in a brew day. Like during my weekends, I used to do that and hang around with brewers. So a lot of insights, and they kind of guide me in a way where they showed me a path, saying that, okay, dude, you have all these options, just figure out, this is your world. And that sort of encouragement.
You pick and choose what you want to do here.
Yeah, definitely. So even I had a really, great mentor who actually he was very encouraging to, help me get through this. Like, he gave me a lot of resources, a lot of links. So I started then, and I eventually started judging in the competitions, and they said, why don't you take up the exam and be certified for BJCP? It's like I always thought the certifications were always fun, not because I get certified, but because I love the process of validating myself. Like I want to see how much I've learned throughout the year.
Okay.
So that kind of put me in the spot of throwing a challenge at myself, and I felt this is really good. I gotta take it, and so BJCP I went through the exam. First was an online.
So how
exam.
long was it before you started actually getting into the having a passion for beer, judging, and then it took you to start getting into BJCP? What was the time period?
2016. 2016. That's when I was trying to figure out this thing, making it a full-time passion. I wanna do this. So that was a phase in 2016. It started.
Okay.
And 2019 Jan I came back to India. So in that phase I was did all these things. But yeah, I mean that.
So your certification also you did it from the US.
Yeah. So for BJCP and even for Cicerone, to get to certain levels, it's not offered everywhere. So if you look at the Cicerone as well, so Cicerone and BJCP level 1 is offered, you can take it anywhere, it's online.
Okay.
But level 2 for Cicerone is something that it's an in-person exam. It's a 4-hour long exam. You have all the multiple, you have the fill in the blanks, essays, and demonstration, tasting. It's a long exam. There's only 30% of the people who take the exam.
33 is what I believe.
33. Yeah, 33. So yeah, I mean, I literally don't know how I passed the exam. This was in 2018. I only had 3 months of time in the US left, and I was getting the most out of it, because I wanted to. At that point, I decided, if I don't want to be an engineer anymore, I can't stay in the US, because obviously my work visa is different.
Yeah.
So I have to make a choice, and I felt, let me try the Cicerone thing. I'll see how far I can go with the knowledge I've gained in the past. So level 1 was it was basic, and I went through it. And level 2, it requires a lot of months of practice and studying. But fortunately, I don't know how it happened. It might have due to my passion or the experience I had in the past. That I barely studied for a month, and
you got through.
I got through, luckily, and that was the happiest day in my life. That gave me a lot of confidence to to decide what I want to do. Probably this is something that I really want to do, because everything I'm doing here is actually making sense to me. So I decided, now I can come back. I want to come back, and I'll. You
at least have a plan once you come back, that where you want to head.
Definitely. So I knew what I want to do, but even in that I was confused. Let's say, I can brew beer, I can talk about beer.
Yeah.
And what exactly can I do? I obviously I can't focus on everything, right? So I need to focus on something, bring value. Yeah. So I when I came here, to be honest, I was confused. Okay, I can do this and this. Everything excited me equally. And I got this opportunity from Big Brewski. They had a position called Beer Ambassador. This is a new position they're trying to...
Beer Ambassador?
Beer Ambassador. It's like a brand ambassador for the beer. So you represent beer for them.
Okay.
So I felt, this is something I want to do, because it's really exciting. And I joined them. It was a very good learning for me, to interact with the staff. So my job was train the staff, brief them about different aspects of beer every day, and talk to the customers on the floor, help them understand beers better, organize events for people, do some content writing. So all this different exposure has given me, and I really loved it. So and then I felt I want to do this for as an independent standalone person, where I can bring value not just to one place. Exactly. Not just one place, but I can probably bring value with my content to everyone around. I want to work with breweries instead of working with one brewery.
True.
So that's when this all started, and that is where I eventually will be heading to, beer training and educating customers, because I felt there are a lot of good brewers out there already.
Yeah.
So there's no point for me to go.
Yeah, we were trying and getting into that picture actually.
Yeah.
But how did your parents take it? So you obviously went from here to pursue your engineering and do something about that. And all parents, they have certain aspirations. So especially when the child goes to the US. So when you made this switch, how supportive were they?
Right. I mean, my parents were always supportive in the beginning. Like obviously with the path I've chosen, they never restricted me to take a specific degree. So if I'm choosing engineering, they never asked me to do a particular electrical engineering or computer
any particular stream.
Yeah. So they always gave me a choice. But this is something that we're talking about a different stream. So obviously they were surprised because they spent a lot of money, invested a lot of time and effort in getting this degree and sending you abroad and all that, and it all is going for waste. I mean, that's what the thought process for them, right? Because
initially, at least that's what one would assume. Yeah.
So when I even decided to tell them this, I was even not in a mental state to even talk about it, because I already know what the response is going to be. So it was a tough few months of convincing them that this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And obviously there was no one in our family or in our neighbors that trying to pursue the same career in beer. So it's a very new thing for them as well. But eventually I think my work, my passion for it, and when my father started seeing the results of what I was doing, what I was getting into in terms of beer, and he
that must have been convincing then.
Convincing little by little, and I never pushed him or never stressed him out. I just gave him more time to think, because even I was going through a phase of that. So eventually when I was putting in all the work and getting all the certifications, and then that changed his perception, and he thought let him try, I'll just be supportive. And then he started supporting us, and he said, just you want to come back, we don't have any issues. And then it kind of became a normal thing.
Yeah. I think they need to see that seriousness, and secondly, nothing speaks like success here. That's the best answer one can give, and they are right in their own way, because they are not sure of what you really want to get out of this. And you are also in a little confused state. So I think it's all ended well, and it's beautiful right now.
Definitely.
But tell me, does someone from a science background has a better advantage as against someone from a non-science background to be in the beer industry?
It really depends on what they want to do in the industry. So obviously you have different streams, right? You can be an educator, you can be a brewer, you can, different things within the industry. So if they are looking into a career in brewing, even for that, I don't think there is a specific need of a degree, because from my experience, what I've seen in the US, with a lot of people who are small scale brewers, who really very passionate, and we live in abundance, right? We have a lot of information online. Even if you wanna look how to brew or get into advanced stuff, everything is free. Everything is out there.
Everything is out there. True.
Yeah. So when you're passionate enough about something, there is always a way. If you are just showing up every day, and there's always one resource leading up to another resource, and you always find that way. So I feel the degree is not very essential. Rather you can learn all the technical, all the theoretical stuff online, and interact with the brewers and learn from them, be their intern, work for them for free for a few months, get those, that hands-on experience. And then eventually the thing is going to change. I mean, you don't need a degree if you're producing a great beer, and if you earn that reputation, no one's going to care about the degree anymore, right?
Yeah.
Unless you're going into certain R&D streams, or you're working for
being truly a scientist or something like that, then I guess that's
correct. Yeah, correct.
Because a lot of people like for me, for instance, I'm a non-science background, but I, of course, run Cheers Chatty, and that's a podcast channel. But sometimes to understand the industry, to understand the people that you're interviewing, and if you want to impart knowledge. So I was just thinking that if, someone like me who wants to get into the industry, does he need a qualification or his passion, and that should be enough to take him to get educated to the extent that one wants?
I think his passion is enough to find the solutions or find the things that he's looking for. Anyone. So that is where it all starts. And your passion would lead into the work you put in every day, and you wouldn't even realize when you look back, and it's like you've already come a long way. So I think the passion kind of has that power to drive.
Yeah, it just takes you through it. Yeah.
Definitely.
That makes a lot of sense. And actually, you are the second person whom I have interviewed. The first one is Gautam Gandhi, who's a criminal lawyer and then turned into a brewer, and you are a mechanical engineer and now become a beer person. So, and I think it shows so much, that how much you guys love beer. The category itself excites you all. It's not about one aspect of it, and I think that's something everyone should learn, that beer is something that just welcomes everyone. You just need to show how much you love it and how serious you are about it.
Definitely, it's everywhere. People start somewhere, right? So it obviously starts as a small hobby, and slowly that hobby turns into a passion. And then when it turns into a passion, you'll find all the answers of why you actually are pursuing a passion, because that's when you actually find the purpose. Right? For me, my passion was in the beer. Yeah. And once I got into it, then I realized my purpose. What's my purpose? Okay, for my purpose is to change perception of people, the way they look at beer. So that has been more gratifying to me.
So that when you say change your perception, would you say for the regular drinkers and non-industry people, or for the industry people, or for everyone?
For everyone, a perception, because if we don't grow, we die, right? So as a human, we always need to learn something, get through, evolve. So I felt we often do certain things without paying attention to it. Yeah. And once we start paying attention to it, we get more benefits out of it. So that was a thing that I've discovered with beer. So even before I knew anything about craft beer, I was drinking a lot of good beers, all the imports from Germany. But I never used to pay attention. If, for instance, you have German wheat beer, and I never used to pay attention to the flavors I used to get from that. But I used to drink it as a passive
regular drinker. Yeah.
Yeah. So then I figured out, once I started interacting more with the beer folks around me, and started to know what to expect out of a beer, of that particular beer, then I started paying more attention, observing closely what it's doing on my palate when I sip. And that experience was richer and richer every time when I learned something more about beer, and that kind of spiked my interest. I felt I'd gone through a phase where I was not paying attention, and now I'm at a phase where I'm paying attention to every detail of what that beer is actually doing on my palate. And I can say that if I go with a friend to a bar, and I would say, I get a richer experience, though we pay the same price for the beer.
True.
So I want to do that for everyone. So I felt, let me do this for a regular beer drinker. Obviously, I can't just go and tell a guy who drinks a macro lager, hey man, you've been drinking a craft beer for a long time. I can't say that. So it makes them feel stupid, right? Because they believed in it for a long time, and you're just all of a sudden coming and you're just saying
you're trying to ruin it for him.
Right. So there's a way that, there's an approach that we gotta follow. I feel what approach that I like to do is to educate them more about even the regular beers, what goes into it. Or, whenever I go to a bar with any friend, first thing I do is to get a set of samplers and let him or her try all the different beers, and I'll try to get through that, help them understand there are a lot of options. You don't have to stick to one particular beer for the rest of your life.
True.
So then I started noticing that there was a change in the way they looked at beer, and people started trying different beers. Like, dude, I didn't know I like this beer like this. I didn't even know this beer exists. Like, for instance, there's a coffee lover, and who wants to, like, get into beer. Like, they get surprised with the stout. It's like, oh man, where did this come from? Is this a beer?
That's the best beer, man, in the world.
So there's always a surprise element with the beer. Unlike wine, like, since beer has a huge spectrum of styles, like
there's so many layers to it. Yeah, there's so many characters to it. I mean, your lifetime is not enough to explore beer.
Definitely, like, there is. If someone says I don't like beer, then I would say no, you probably haven't tried enough.
Yeah.
Because you can get a beer. If you are into more sour and acidity, they are like sour beers. And if you are like a coffee person, you have stout.
Yeah.
Even for the chocolate, if you like chocolate. And there is if you like light beers or wheat beers, there's always a market. Even for IPAs, you like something like bold and bitter, sharp. So you have all these options. So definitely, even a wine person or a whiskey person, for that instance, like there are beers like Saint and Sinner, which can, like, all the spirit lovers can enjoy it even more because it's more complex.
Yeah.
So things like that. I always feel beer is a very a huge world where you can explore. It fits in every audience.
And there is one for everyone in this world here. I mean, if you don't know beer, you will not love it. So the only way to love it, nobody's forcing you to love it, but you just learn a little bit about it, and then you're just going to fall in love with it. So I think people out there is lots to explore, and one should do that. And Anudeep is one of the right people to go through that.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
But you started your beer journey from the US, and then you came to India. So did you obviously, there's a lot of difference in terms of culture, in terms of styles that is there, the learning. So what was your biggest challenge in terms of trying to adjust back to India?
My biggest challenge was not knowing the Indian market, because I've been away for 5 years. So 5 straight years I spent there, and my whole influence was based on the culture, what I've noticed in the US. So when I came back, I have to go back to the thinking that, okay, now how do I put this in perspective? Like, how do you
fit it over here?
Yeah. And I started to notice, obviously, like, the way we've grown up with, like, we've always grown up with the macro lagers, and, that's the only beer that we all know. We've been drinking that for a long time. And
lagers have been the feats and ambassadors in India,
Right.
That was the only thing that we knew at one point.
So obviously it's a challenging and it's a time-taking process. So I can't just come in and say, hey, I can change these things in like 1 or 2 months. It's like it takes years, 10, 15, 20 years of hard work. Like, even if you look at the US craft beer industry, like, as we know, in 1975 to 1980, that's when the time when the home brewers in US started reviving those historic styles and really created a pathway for the entire world in terms of like getting into the craft beer again. So that from 1970s to 2020, like, if you look at the US market right now, it's like it's huge. Like, the craft beer is like exploding. So for them to get to this point from 1970s, it's a very long journey. So I feel even for us here, it's gonna be a very long journey. But what's most important is to like keep engaging people with your content and truly bring value to those around with what you're learning. Like, it's a journey, so it's not something that I come up and say, hey, I've learned from this, I've learned this and this, and I'm an expert. I'm expert at this. Learn from me. It's not that.
And
it's
this is the way it is.
Yeah, it's a journey. Like, we learn and we help people learn. Yeah. So it's really a challenge, but it's a collective effort. I feel from the brewers, from the owners, what they represent, what beers they bring, and also for all the beer connoisseurs, the bloggers.
And the drinkers. Yeah, I mean, if they weren't there, then we wouldn't be there.
Definitely. I mean, it all, like, this is all it's being done for the drinkers, so that they get more out of it. Right, so this is like something from the industry that we can think of as a collective effort in, every message that we pass, if it reflects with someone, has that beautiful story of what we represent as craft doers. So it's all these little things throughout the years. I feel like that kind of changes the whole thing, and eventually you find more customers, because like if you help someone and that person's gonna bring more friends, and those friends are gonna be like more friends, like you keep on growing a community of beer love.
True, correct. Anudeep, we were talking about the history of beer in India, where it all started. So it just got me thinking that what did the Rajas and Maharajas and all the royal families or whoever, those in that generation and that age would be drinking? I'm sure it was made somewhere, no?
I really think there should be an origin for that. Like if you look at the history, like we used to have like all these different kingdoms, and in these kingdoms, people used to, like, especially the royal families used to celebrate the wedding or any special day. In terms of like as a part of celebration, they threw this whole like a grand party where they include different varieties of food and bring different artists, like music, dance, and obviously alcohol should be
full-on entertainment, and it was extravagant to the hilt here.
Yeah, so there might be some history related to people making alcoholic beverages, especially only for the royal family.
For the royal family, yeah.
Right. So at that time, maybe I think there might be people enjoying some different kinds of alcoholic drinks, and I feel more than a spirit for distillation. I feel like beer is kind of like, it doesn't need that extra step of distillation, right? So I feel maybe there might have been a possibility where people were drinking like a low alcohol beverages, not specifically about beer, but I'm thinking maybe there might be something which they can enjoy for a longer period of time. I mean, you can't do that with spirit. You can't sit for like 5-6 hours and like be in a stable state with the spirit compared to beer. So beer is meant for easy, long drinking sessions, right? So I think there might be some references to a beverage which is low in alcohol. Not sure if that's beer, but if that's beer, it's something that we've got to explore.
Yeah, and what kind of local ingredients also that they must be using? What would their version of hops be? What would their version of yeast would be, or malt? You don't know. It's all there in the wild jungles here, and that's so unexplored.
That's definitely something that we need to explore, because if we look at the history of everywhere, like every country, every culture, they are unique because they brewed with what they had. They didn't go out to different countries and brought something, but like they brewed with what they had.
Yeah, and you need any help from me any way I can contribute, please let me know, Anudeep. I'll be more than happy to do that. Also, speaking again, coming back to education, you and Gautam have started this Facebook certified beer server. That's the Indian chapter. Tell us a little about that.
Yeah, so the whole reason of starting that was like we wanted to figure out a group for people which focuses exclusively on the beer education if someone wants to move forward, right? So if someone wants to have a specific resource, wants to really learn more about certain aspects of beer, I felt like there should be a platform, because with the current groups what we have, like, there's a lot of information out there, like which probably everyone wouldn't like to spend a lot of time to actually dig into what they want, right? So you have a group where you have 50, 100 posts in a day. So going through all of those to figure out what you actually want is a very big task. I think I want to simplify and probably get more focused on just the education aspect of it, where we show them what they want, not anything else. So if I'm drinking a beer, I'm not going to post in my group saying that, hey, this is what
I'm drinking this tonight.
Right. So it's just about more in the lines of, helping each other out in terms of if they have any confusion regarding a beer style or on how to serve beers, on, so all these different aspects that Cicerone is focusing on for the level 1 certified beer server.
Okay.
Is we felt, we can probably use this platform to help people who are in the similar lines, who want to really, who are beer geeks and who want to really go out and learn something. So, because these people, like if we are providing value to them, And we obviously know they are going to be brand ambassadors for beer in India. They're going to drive the education, because if I provide value to someone in the group, he's going to go out there and do the same thing with his friends. So it's a process and it's like a chain. So
it will just create a rippling effect here.
Right. So this is what we are actually heading to. So we eventually started this as a Cicerone specific kind of a group for the exam, but the whole idea, it has been evolved in such a way that now if someone is like really interested in terms of understanding beers in a better way or knowing more about it, so we go online, we do a Zoom session every Sunday at 5 p.m.
Okay.
We talk about different things, not just in terms of Cicerone syllabus, but in terms of like a general understanding for people if they want to know more about beers, like they're stuck somewhere, they're confused. Help them in every way possible, not just looking at one aspect, but everything around beer.
So, Indian and enthusiast or regular drinker who loves beer and wants to know a little bit more about it is welcome to join this group?
Definitely. So this group is all about like that basics, what we need for, helping us get better at this beverage called beer. So.
And I shall repeat the name of the group. It's the Facebook Certified Beer Server India chapter. So who is interested, please join this group. I am a part of this group and I love it.
Thank you, Chatty. I really appreciate that.
No, you're most welcome. You guys are doing such great stuff there. It needs to be put out there. And it's all for a bigger cause that's called beer. So it's our love for it. And what better way when one can actually appreciate it. And before, we sign off, one last question I want to ask you, Anudeep, is what's your ultimate tribute and dream for beer?
My ultimate tribute.
You will want to be known as, because your profile says you're the beer guy, you're the BJCP judge, Cicerone certified. So what does that beer guy actually entail? Of course, we know how much we love beer by now. But what's your dream? What would you want to be known in the beer industry for?
Just a beer guy who had created some value in the beer education in Indian industry, Indian craft beer industry. So this is what I think. I want to be remembered as someone who's a pioneer in terms of driving beer education in India. So that was like eventually that is a goal that I'm looking for, because that is the reason why I put myself as a simple, as a beer guy, because I don't want to be an expert, because that doesn't keep me grounded, because it is always like there's a learning. So I felt, I want to be simple, get grounded, learn something, and you get the torch, you pass the torch. It's like a relay. I felt like develop a team of you. If you think you are good, develop a team of you, so that like everyone around is getting the value out of it. So maybe I'll be I really want to be remembered as someone who changed the way the people look at beers, especially for us in the Indian beer industry, all the audience.
That will be your future. And as far as the history is concerned, I really hope that we get to that place where we're going to discover the history of beers in India and where it all started, and brew something which was buried somewhere centuries ago.
Right, there's always a saying that don't forget your roots and culture. So maybe
never ever
related to that.
Yeah, and nothing keeps one rooted as much as beer does. It of course gives you a high, but it makes sure that you always stay on ground.
Definitely.
On that note, we saying goodbye to Anudeep. This is the end of our podcast with him. Okay, Babus, this is Chatty signing off. And Anudeep, you want to say a bye before we end this podcast?
Oh yeah, so I just want to give a shout out to everyone that's listening, and do follow Cheers Chatty, and she's an absolutely great host. We had a really great time chatting with her.
Thank you so much.
Happy International Beer Day, everyone. Cheers.
Yeah, everyone drink a lot of beer, be responsible, be good to yourself, be good to the world, and please follow us on all our podcast channels, YouTube, Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple, Google Podcasts, Anchor, and of course our social media channels, which is Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Till then, please